Syracuse, New York, ESFTV presents college basketball. Today, the ESF Mighty Oaks visit the Bryant and Stratton Syracuse Cougars. Hello everybody, and thank you for joining us on ESFTV for USCAA college basketball. Alongside my good partner Nico Horning, I'm Ryan Randoni, and today Nico, on deck is a crosstown matchup between ESF and Bryant and Stratton Syracuse. Two schools that are coming off different last games. B&S came off a big win last contest, but for ESF, a little bit different.
Yeah, a little bit different is right, a 110-78 loss for ESF to Morrisville. And after ESF, you were here on Sunday when they defeated Word of Life and got their first conference win. They go out there and lose to a very, very good Morrisville team. They allow the most points in program history that Morrisville had, 110. So ESF looking for a different outcome today. It's going to have to start defensively. They have Bryant Stratton, a team that is a little bit older, a little bit bigger than ESF, and they're the team to watch for today. If they take care of the things that they're normally used to doing, they'll be just fine against this ESF team, but a lot of things are going to have to work well and go right for the Mighty Oaks today. Keys of the game for today for Bryant Stratton, well, they're going to have to rebound the ball. This is a team that has Tyrese Thompson, the starting center for the Cougars. He averages a little over 7 rebounds a game. And then push the break if you're Bryant Stratton. You're a team that averages 83.9 points a game. If you run the floor and score the ball like you're supposed to, they'll be just fine. And then get stops. They had 4 players that had 2 steals apiece last game, which was, by the way, Ryan, over a month ago. We'll get into that a little bit later in the broadcast. But those are your keys for Bryant Stratton. And then for ESF, you are going to have to rebound the basketball. This is a team that got out-rebounded 51-23 against Morrisville on Tuesday. Defending collectively is a big one as well. They allowed 110 points like we just mentioned. And then shoot the ball well. They shot the ball well, pretty good early in the season. They got to get back to that here as conference play is approaching. And those are your keys of the game for Bryant Stratton and ESF, an exciting one today.
And definitely clear that the first key to victory on both sides was rebounding. That's going to play a big factor today in the battle of the boards. Bryant and Stratton, though, a bit bigger overall of a team than ESF is. You wonder if that will play a factor down the road.
You know, I think it could, because ESF, if you look down their roster, Ryan, it is pretty much all guards. And they're a team that I talked to John D'Antonio the other day, and he mentioned that this is a team that has to, every player has to go crash the boards, has to rebound. You don't have that 1 or 2 guys that are going to go to the hoop. Everyone has to rebound collectively as a group. You have to have a will to rebound, as D'Antonio said. So that's going to be the most important thing in this game, and that's what's going to determine this game alone, is the rebounding. They're both shooting teams. They can both score a lot of points, but it does come down to the rebounding, because if they let this Bryant and Stratton team have an extra possession or 2, that could be the decision of this game.
And ESF overall in that last game against Morrisville, 68 points allowed in the paint. Also 18 second chance points surrendered, as well as 16 points off turnovers.
Look, so they don't have that big guy. They don't have that center, that typical center that you see. So, of course, these numbers are going to be skewed. But if ESF can play small ball really well today, especially in the defensive end, they'll be all right.
Take a look at our starters now for today. On ESF side, it's the same as last game. Christian Rossi, Andrew Cox, Nate McCartney, Patrick Emery, and Kieran Heffron. That's what ESF has been leading towards for the last few games. And on the B&S side, Moses Hughes, Darren Joyner, Cameron Wheeler, Taron Baines, and Tyrese Thompson. Bryant and Stratton, you mentioned it, a little bit more depth when it comes to just overall different centerpieces, like a center, like a forward. ESF doesn't have those big guys.
Bryant and Stratton, Tyrese Thompson, you just mentioned the starting center today for the Cougars at 6'8", 215 pounds. This is the guy that ESF is going to have to focus on a lot going forward today. He's averaging 8.9 points a game, 7.7 rebounds a game. He's from Jamaica, and he is just a threat inside the paint. If you're ESF, you have a lot of guards on your team. You're going to have to go double team this guy inside, because he can be the determining factor for today. He had 18 points last time out against ESF. So he's been known to do damage against the Mighty Oaks, and he has a possibility to do that today. The question will be, how will ESF respond?
Yeah, ESF, how will they respond? Also, how will they bounce back from the last time they played Bryant and Stratton? It was a close one, 91-86 loss. B&S, though, shot 50% on field goals and edged that one. It was definitely close down the way.
Very close game. It could have gone either way. You just mentioned the shooting percentage from the floor. But what stands out to me is Bryant and Stratton didn't even shoot the ball well from beyond the arc that game, just 21%, and then 58% from the free throw line. So even though those seem like quite a bit of points for this level of basketball, that's a game that ESF could have won, and I think they can take advantage of that today if they can also get the three-point ball going a little bit. If you can rebound the basketball, get the three balls rolling, you'll be just fine and get yourself a shot against Bryant and Stratton. But I expect another close game today. I will see how that plays out.
Head coach John D'Antonio on the screen. He's been overall pretty high up his team. He likes the way they're playing, but as he said, just overall, just needs to see more physicality. That's the most important thing for him.
Talked to Coach D'Antonio yesterday. The most important thing, I'm going to keep harping on it all game, is the rebounds. They talked a lot about rebounding during shoot-around in practice yesterday, and he tells his team they got to rebound by committee, or else obviously things could go haywire pretty quickly for Coach D'Antonio. He's an elementary school teacher right now, and he actually played with Portland from 1995 to 97 as a player over there, and led the team, or was part of the team that went to the Division III NCAA tournament.
And on the other side, Xavier Norby coaching Bryant and Stratton tonight. He is the assistant coach, but head coach Clay Gagnon-Sherman is out tonight on personal issues. There's no clarification of that.
And this is going to be a change for Bryant and Stratton going forward. You know, anytime you have a new coach for a game or two, it can throw things off, or you can play much better. I've seen tons of teams that you get an interim guy real quick that may not be the head guy at practice every day, but he's a very vocal leader. And we'll see how Bryant and Stratton responds to that today. Not sure what is up with Gagnon-Sherman, but hoping everything is all right. But yeah, should be pretty interesting to see how Norby gets his guys going, and not even to mention the fact that they've had a month off. So to play your first game after a break without your head coach, it should be an interesting challenge for the Cougars.
Interesting test. Gagnon-Sherman has really uplifted this team. He's in his 5th season with the squad. 2 years ago, they finished with a losing record. Last year, they ended up with a winning record, 19-8, 3-2 in conference. And this year, they're doing just about better, 8-2 already, 1-0 in conference.
And this is a team that they're technically D1. They're an independent school, but they can still get guys from around the world. I mentioned Thompson is from Jamaica. Javar James is also from Jamaica. So they have guys globally and even around the country. Keyshawn Lewis from Nashville, Chase Doherty from Cleveland. Whereas ESF is a lot more local talent, and you got to feel that at these local high schools. So it's a different level of global reach, I guess you could say, for both of these teams, different levels, technicality. But again, we saw a very close game last time, a 91-86 win for Bryant and Stratton. And I expect that again today to be very close.
Well, we'll send it over to our public address announcer for now.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the SRC Arena here on the campus of Onondaga Community College for tonight's men's basketball matchup featuring the visiting Mighty Oaks of SUNY ESF and your Bobcats of Bryant and Stratton College, Syracuse. We will have no national anthem this evening, so let's hop right into the starting lineups. First, for the visitors from SUNY ESF. At guard, a senior, number 1, Christian Rossi. At guard, a sophomore, number 10, Antonio Franco Alvarado. At guard, a sophomore, number 11, Andrew Cox. At guard, a sophomore, number 20, Nate McCarthy. And at forward, a sophomore, number 25, Patrick Emery. And now, for the home team on the scoreboard, the Bobcats of Bryant and Stratton College, Syracuse. Deuce. At guard, number 1 from New York, Moses Deuce. At guard, a junior from Queens, New York, number 4, Darren Joyner. At forward from New York, a freshman, number 11, Cameron Wheeler. At guard from Nashville, Tennessee. At guard from Long Island, New York, number 12, Tayron Banks. And at center from Kingston, Jamaica, number 34, Tyrese Thompson.
Welcome back into ESFTV. Nico, you may have heard overall from the public address announcer, B&S is the home team. ESF plays its home games here, but technically speaking, this is an away game.
Yeah, it happens, and this is technically, yes, it is a away game for ESF, but both these teams are very used to playing here from time to time, and it shouldn't be a problem either way.
Well, both teams take what is typically their home court. Referee puts the ball in the air. B&S wins the tip. Joyner starts with the ball, averages about 16 points per game, second best on B&S. Pass inside. Corner three. Rattles out. Rebounded by ESF. Rossi with it up top. Averages 11 points for the Mighty Oaks. Shot from Rossi, bounces out. And B&S comes back the other way. Joyner throws inside. Thompson using the physicality, bounces off. A scramble for it ensues. ESF picks it up.
You have to respect the tenacity there from the Mighty Oaks. They came and helped with the double on Tyrese Thompson. That's going to be important for the majority of the contest.
McCarthy inside, lays it up, and has the first points of the game. Nate McCarthy averaging 11 points per contest, has the first shot. It's 2-0 ESF. A three, rolls in and out. B&S gets the rebound, shot put up but won't go. Some early struggles offensively for the Bobcats.
Moses Hughes had the offensive rebound rather on that last possession. ESF got a bit lucky. They got to crash the boards on that scenario.
In the corner, Aguado, his first shot, bounces out. B&S moves back the other way. Inside, Thompson puts it up, rattles out again. ESF scrambles for it. And a tie-up called. It's going back the other way, though. Thompson already his second shot inside the paint, but can't seem to find the back of the net.
ESF is playing fine defense on him inside, but still Thompson is getting to his spots as you would expect him to as a bigger guy than most of this ESF team. He's just got to put those home, and he will eventually.
Cox drives in, puts it up. Again, bounces out. ESF with the physicality gets the rebound. Emery drives in his first shot of the day and a swish. Patrick Emery gets on the board. It's 4-0 ESF.
That's your leading scorer right there. Patrick Emery is going to be very important for this ESF team today to get going offensively.
Averages 20 points a game. The three won't go for B&S. ESF already up by 4. A chance to extend their advantage early on. Aguado drives in, lays it up. It rolls home. 6-0 ESF. Coach Xavier Norby calls a timeout. And my oh my, Nico, they've really come out of the gate swinging after a very tough loss last game.
That's the exact way you want to start out. If you are the Mighty Oaks, Coach D'Antonio got to be very happy with his start. They're defending, they're contesting shots, and they're making shots on the other end. Franco is getting going, and this ESF team looking a little bit different here to start this one, up by 6 so far. Bryant and Stratton, they're going to come out with a little more physicality, and look, in their point of view, the shots weren't exactly falling to start this game, but you have to give credit to the ESF defense, who's coming out with a different level of competitiveness than Morrisville.
And maybe a bit premature to say, but they've fixed exactly what they wanted to work on in the physicality and the boards.
They have, and it's been, what, about 3 minutes into this game.
A little bit premature.
Yeah. No, you had the right term there, but it's a hint at what we could see from ESF going forward. We'll see if that happens the rest of the way. But again, Thompson, number 34 there in gray on your left side of your screen, is going to be the most important player for ESF to guard throughout the majority of this contest.
BNS still looking for its first score. A 3 bounces out. No luck on the tray ball. A scramble for it ensues. Tie-up once again called, and this time it goes in favor of BNS. Cox getting aggressive, though, under the basket.
A lot of communication from this Mighty Oaks squad early on. It's going to have to remain that way going forward.
Hughes up top, fakes a 3, drives in. Under the basket, a block shot, second chance, rolls out. Scramble for it, another tie-up called, and this time it's going in favor of ESF.
Look at Patrick Emery right there, doing it all for this Mighty Oaks team, getting right over the shoulders of Tyrese Thompson. Emery showing why on both ends of the floor, why he is the leader of this ESF team.
Thompson continues to struggle, 0 for 3 on shots already. Emery with it. Kicks back up top of Guado. Back to Emery. Shot clock dwindling down, spins, puts it up, air ball.
Good defensive possession from Bryant and Stratton, but too much standing around if you're the Mighty Oaks. They're pretty stagnant there beyond the arc, not much ball movement at all, and that's not how you get your offense going if you're ESF, but a good job by Bryant and Stratton.
Well, a big key for John D'Antonio has been passing the ball, but just maybe a bit too much right there.
Well, if you're going to pass, you got to cut too, and you got to move offensively, and they weren't doing that.
Still, the 3 ball not working for BNS. Cox almost thought about taking his own tray, holds off. Back up top of Guado, drives in, open shot, off the iron, but the physicality gets ESF possession back.
That's the exact type of offense you want to see if you're ESF. Much more movement than the one prior, and they got an open look.
Rossi surveying. Ball stolen away, and BNS gets it back. 2-on-1 the other way. Shot put up, and BNS has its first points of the game. Shamari Baskerville averages 11 points per contest. 6-4.
Moses Hughes had the big steal on the other end to allow for their first basket of the game. He had 2 steals last time out, and he was continuing that defensive tenacity so far today.
Emery driving inside, getting physical, wanted the foul, but nothing called. BNS moving with pace. Inside, a pass stolen away. Here comes ESF the other way. Emery puts it up, and this time it rattles home. Wants another foul, complaining towards the referee. Won't get it, but his team already with 8 points regardless.
Beautiful move from Patrick Emery, going the full length of the floor after the turnover there, and went a little up and under from left lane to the right side of the hoop. Patrick Emery coming out of this game hot, and you need big players to perform in big games, and Patrick Emery is doing that so far today.
The leading scorer already with 2 baskets. The other way, layup up and in. Once again, Baskerville. The score 8-4.
Talk about athleticism there, Ryan. Man, did he get up? 6'3", Baskerville from Queens.
Aguado's three rolls out. Three from the corner. Bounces out, rebounded by ESF. Mighty Oaks bench certainly getting into it, yelling defense. They've been very vocal so far as a foul called on B&S.
Well, so far since that timeout, Ryan, I've seen Bryant and Stratton look a little bit more organized and like themselves so far. Even if they've missed a couple of shots, they've had Shamari Baskerville get himself going, and he's kind of a guy that gets a little bit overshadowed by the starting lineup. He averages 11 points a game still, but he does it off the bench, and you want that energy from those reserves to come in and do as much as they can and let those starters get some rest.
Ravin Burnett steals the ball. The 6'1" guard just came on the floor, hands it off, the layup up and in. Darren Joyner finishes his first points of the day, averages 16 per contest, and it's back to a one-basket game. Pokaway rolls out off B&S, but now, all of a sudden, the Bobcats being a little bit more physical.
Defense creating offense, that's the mentality of the game. Cameron Wheeler with the Pokaway right there. The hands are active for Bryant and Stratton here.
And B&S pressuring, ball poked away. Aguado fortunate to get it back. Far wing, Cox heaves a three, and it rolls in. Andrew Cox with the response. Puts ESF into double digits.
Bad luck from Bryant and Stratton there. Almost had the steal. Instead, ESF turns it into a three. Andrew Cox, a guy that averages just a bit over 32% from downtown, knocked one down right there. And ESF keeping that few-point lead so far.
B&S gets it back off a steal. The shot bounces out, but a foul called against Emory. And two shots up and coming for Joyner, who already has a basket today.
First free throws of the game come 8 minutes into the game, Ryan. I thought, yeah, a pretty competitive game so far on both sides. You expect there to be a free throw before 8 minutes into the game.
B&S last game, they struggled from the line, just 58% at the charity stripe.
Yeah, they're not particularly as efficient from the free throw line as ESF, but both get knocked down right there, and that's going to be that could be the decision maker for the rest of this game. Who knocks down more free throws? Who gets more rebounds? But so far, I've been impressed by the ESF rebounding this far.
Joyner was 68% from the charity stripe coming into this game. Increases that a bit here. B&S comes back the other way. Under the basket, he puts it up and in. Darren Joyner going off. He's got a game-high 6 points. It's a one-point ball game. ESF pressured once again. Rossi finding his way, though, and he puts it up off the glass and home.
Haven't heard his name much so far. Christian Rossi from West Genesee High School, right down the street. He gets going, and Coach D'Antonio talked about Rossi. He's a guy that needs to be more aggressive going forward, and he showed why right there. If he can continue to do that, the CSF team adds another body to their already impressive guard play.
Rossi, a senior, certainly one of the more center stone figures of this team, both scoring-wise and also just motivational-wise. Shot by Emory bounces in, and ESF back up by 5. Mighty Oaks have had responses for the runs by B&S so far.
Yeah, and you can't undermine the tenacity that Patrick Emory brings to this ESF team, and they've responded really well when Bryant and Stratton has tried to go on a run. The defense right here again looking well. Just a second chance opportunity that we talked about earlier, Bryant and Stratton had right there.
Cameron Wheeler, his first points of the contest. Back to a three-point ball game, another steal. And here comes B&S again. Foul called against Cox. He's frustrated. Didn't want that violation, but grabbed that left arm. A three-point ball game. And here comes BNS once again.
Well, ESF getting a little careless with the basketball there on that last possession, and that's something you can't have against the Cougars here. They've been holding up defensively pretty well, just can't let those careless possessions get away from you.
A 3 by Hughes, good. His first points of the day. Has a team best 18 points a match, and it's all tied up at 15. Ball stolen away again. Hughes comes back the other way, working on Rossi. One-on-one action, puts it up and home. Back-to-back baskets for Hughes, and BNS has its first lead of the game. It's stolen away again, and BSF moves with it right to left. Pass tipped out of bounds off ESF. Turnovers, well, a big problem for ESF. And the weird thing is, BNS is only 13th in the USC AA for steals per game, but they have a whole lot already here.
Look, this is a Cougars team that hasn't looked like they've been hibernating for a month. I mean, they've come out here in the last few minutes. They had a slow start to this game, right? The first couple of minutes they were down. ESF went on a run, but Bryant and Stratton has held the weather. They've weathered the storm. That one misses right there, but I'm very impressed by Bryant and Stratton here coming out after a month off, more than a month off, and they look good so far, especially on the defensive end the last couple of possessions with those steals.
The Cougars are certainly not known for takeaways. Again, I mentioned it towards the bottom of their conference for it, but striking early, using that physicality, and up by 2, ESF still with the basketball.
If you're ESF right now, you got to start driving the lanes, try and draw in some fouls because you're the smaller team. At some point, you got to go inside.
Rossi inside, stripped away. Ball bounces out, and once again, it's ESF basketball.
And if you're Coach D'Antonio, you'll take that all day. You want Rossi to be more aggressive. He showed why right there. Look, it didn't go your way. Try and get another opportunity.
Emery, a quick jumper, and he nails it. Only had 5 to work with on the shot clock. Made it work quickly, and we're back even.
That was not a broadcast jinx because it went in the right direction. I said that you have another opportunity. He made the basket.
There you go.
You know, they should post those ones on Twitter. Showing the broadcast doesn't have a jinx, am I right?
Exactly. ESF with it, moving left to right. Inside, Cox Lane tries to put it up. A big hook fouled on the way up, pushed towards the ground. Goes on the shots, and 2 shots upcoming for ESF. Almost looked like he was trying to possibly go up for a dunk. He was extending that right arm pretty far.
He was, but at the same time, if we're being honest with ourselves, those are 2 guys right there. He's a couple feet away from the hoop. But Andrew Cox doing exactly what Coach D'Antonio would want him to do. Get aggressive, go down the lane as well as you can. And like I mentioned, Rossi getting more aggressive. He needs Cox to be that guy as well. And he showed that he can do so right there. Again, driving to the lane, I talked about it a couple of minutes ago. ESF doing a decent job so far in the last couple of minutes. And they've climbed a bit back into this game.
Cox shoots just about 64% from the line. His second shot is made after a miss on his first. And ESF retakes the lead, 18-17, under 8 to go. Inside, Thompson puts it up, tries to lay down a dunk, won't go. Second chance, that rattles home. Tyrese Thompson has been struggling under the basket, but on the second chance, finds a way to put it home and give his team the lead.
I was going to say the rim was not Thompson's friend right there, but he got the second chance and got it to go finally. Thompson, he's working down low. You got to respect that. But ESF has done a nice job defending him, putting an extra guy on him, but he finally did get his way into the hoop.
And certainly when you're missing so much early on, a shot like that off the putback can really just help your momentum overall and confidence.
For sure. So, Ryan, I want to point out, you know, ESF down by 1, right? Yet the rest of the first half to go. This is where they fumbled last game against Morrisville. They went into halftime down 18. There's a big shot right there They did not close out the first half very well. So Coach D'Antonio, that's one of his points as well. You got to close out the first half, gives you a chance in the second. Good start right there.
Well, Rossi's Trey will do a little bit of that work. And B&S responds immediately the other way. Baskerville up to 7 points now. Just a 25% three-point shooter, but has no problem nailing it down there.
Baskerville looks really comfortable so far.
McCarthy's stuffed away, but a whistle blows. And they'll say Hughes, who laid down the swat, stepped out of bounds, so it remains ESF Rock. Three from Cox, rattles out. B&S with the lead coming back the other way. A fake out by Baskerville, can't get it to go, but draws the foul. And 2 more shots up and coming.
You know, Baskerville really setting himself apart today, coming out with a different type of energy. A beautiful fake right there towards us at the bottom left corner of your screen. But on the other possession, Ryan, if you're ESF, you can't have those possessions where you're going to settle from downtown and take a contested shot. Thompson had his hand right in the face of the ESF player who shot the 3 ball there. I believe it was Andrew Cox. But you can't have those possessions where you settle and try and force a 3, or else it's not going to execute going forward.
Second shot in. B&S up by 2. I thought that pass from Baskerville was going to hit me, Nico.
Yeah, it was close to coming towards us. Even when I walked into today, I was expecting, I'm like, man, we're courtside, but we're not just in the middle of the court. We're down at one of the left wing. Once again, the bottom left corner of your screen. There we are. You know, we got all these bleachers behind us, and at one point, one of these basketballs is going to come hit us right here. I wouldn't be surprised if I got to, you know, you got to have your head on swivel. That's all I'm saying.
Exactly. I have to thank our producer, Christopher Becura. We have the best seats in the house right here.
We do. I mean, you can't beat this. This is, what more could you want in a basketball game? We're what, 4 feet away? I could probably lay down from here to the blue stripe there where the out-of-bounds mark is.
Well, ESF up by 2 here in what is technically a road game at SRC Arena. And it's been really, so far, kind of similar to the last contest that B&S did pull out, but a close game throughout pretty much the entirety of that one. And it's similar here.
Definitely, and this is what I expected going into it. I think both teams have a fairly similar style, even though Bryant and Stratton has a bit more size on their team overall. It's been a pretty equal ball game.
Owen Salerno on the floor, goes in for a block. Shot bounces out, Thompson gets it back. Foul called against ESF. Goes against Salerno. Salerno, one of the bigger players on this team. 6'3" guard, sophomore.
Well, it's funny, Ryan, we escaped the first 8 minutes without many fouls at all, and now the physicality is really ramped up.
A 3 from B&S hits, and it's up to a 5-point game, their biggest lead of the day. That's Baskerville once again, his second tray of the day.
Baskerville is having himself a game today, season high at 14 points, and he is well on his way.
Inside, Cox lays it up, bounces out, won't go. Hughes coming back the other way. Puts it up off the glass and rattles home. Moses Hughes getting involved down low. And B&S continues to extend its lead. Aguadua shot blocked away. Once again, Hughes, his second swat of the day, remains ESF basketball, but man, Nico, they're getting in the heads of ESF right now.
The Cougars just coming out with a different type of energy. It's like, you know, a Cougar at a zoo. They just escaped it right now.
They are swinging. Pass towards center court. Bounces into the backcourt, and a violation called against ESF. Look, everything's going wrong right now.
For sure. If you're ESF, I just brought it up. You got to close the half, and they are 5 minutes away from, once again, not closing out another half in a row. So we'll see what happens. But if you're ESF, you got to defend the basketball, try and get a turnover, create some offense that way.
Well, the saying goes, it's a marathon, not a sprint, and ESF has started hot, but having some trouble finishing out the first half as the ball bounces out of bounds. Mighty Oaks basketball.
That's the exact break you're needed if you're the Mighty Oaks, as Nate McCarthy comes back into the ball game. You got to, I think, in my opinion, push the pace a little bit more, but give credit to Bryant and Stratton. They've come out with this press defense, and ESF has tried to escape it, but BNS has done a nice job defensively.
Aguado inside lays it up. Won't get the first touch, but McCarthy there for the putback. Nate McCarthy leaves his teammate. It's a 5-point ball game.
Bring someone off the bench, get a nice revamp of energy, and McCarthy did that exactly right there.
McCarthy averaging just over 11 points per game on the season. A shot from the far side, nails down, bangs with it. His first points of the day. BNS back up by 7. This full court press really working well.
It is, it's working really well, but going back to that shot by Thompson, if you're the Mighty Oaks, you can live with that. You'll allow that all day because Thompson is not down right inside of the paint, bearing in on you. You'll take an outside shot from him, and if it falls, it falls.
McCarthy looking for back-to-back buckets, won't go, but ESF has the offensive rebound. Aguado a tray, bounces off again. BNS has it going the other way. Inside, Joyner puts it up. Rolls out, but a whistle blows and a foul called against ESF.
Ryan, the other element that ESF is struggling with so far is the three-pointers. They had a couple early on, but it's kind of cooled down since. They made just 1 3 in the first half on Tuesday against Morrisville. So they've beat that number so far today. But again, you can't, it's kind of a live and die by the 3 scenario so far here at Onondaga Community College. So you'd like to see them improve from beyond the arc. But again, they're kind of living and dying by the 3 right now. Got to drive inside like they were with Andrew Cox and Christian Rossi.
Shot's good. 9-point ball game, and Coach D'Antonio talked a bit about that. One of his 3 keys of the game was, in fact, shooting.
Yeah, ESF, a good shooting team. But look, both these teams are. Bryant and Stratton averages almost 84 points a game. ESF can shoot when their 3s are falling. So again, this is a game that, of course, you'd like to see the 3s fall, but you got to start driving inside, getting some cuts going, and moving the ball around like they are so far in this possession.
Rossi, triple team, puts it up, won't go, but draws the foul.
Got to shout out Christian Rossi right now because he is working himself down in the lane. He's drawing the fouls. He's getting himself to the stripe. He's a decent free throw shooter at 73%. So Rossi is really keeping ESF in this ball game as they try and close out the first half.
Rossi's first shot, a swish. Had 17 points last game. That was tied for most on ESF. Also went 7 for 9 from the line. Second shot also good. ENS trying to pull back within a reasonable margin, down by 7. From Bangs bounces out. Second chance on the putback, won't go. Third chance, that time it goes home.
Talk about staying with it. Cameron Wheeler.
Cameron Wheeler refusing to give up. And defensively, BNS also applying pressure. Foul called, though. Remains ESF ball.
You see those hops on Wheeler? That's what ESF has got to do. They got to crash the boards like Wheeler did right there on the offensive glass.
Rossi with it, somebody who has been involved down low. McCarthy works the baseline. Aguado inside, lays it up underhanded and gets it to go. Antonio Franco Aguado, he's been quiet, averages 16 points a match, but gets the shot there.
Bryant and Stratton done a great job defensively on Franco today. He's been one of the guys that's been a little quiet, like you just said, but he's ramping up here towards the end of the half. Ryan, if you're down by 7, if you're ESF, you'd like to get this down to a 5-point game going into halftime. I think Coach D'Antonio would be very acceptable with that.
A 3 from the far corner, an air ball, and here comes a fast break the other way. McCarthy puts it up, and it nails home. A much-needed steal and score, and it's back to a 5-point ball game, 1.5 minutes to go in the opening frame.
Yeah, the bench guys coming off and putting it to use.
A 3 the other way, bounces out. Thompson goes for the rebound, but he won't get it. ESF moving with pace. Inside Aguado, layup off. Rossi fights for it, gets it. But the referees rule it's going the other way. Rather a timeout called by ESF. Coach D'Antonio got it off just in time. His team down by 5. Certainly seemed like those 2 fast breaks, though, gave them some momentum back.
Huge fast break. That's some of the best few seconds we've seen them play in this first half. The defense creating, allowing for some points on the other side. And ESF looking very energized here in the last couple of minutes, down by 5. That's the exact way you want to try and close out this first half.
And last time ESF was here, when they played Word of Life, it was a similar scenario. They were down by a few at half, but they came back and really had a fantastic second period and won that game by a favorable margin. So they're still in a decent spot here.
Well, the statistics show that's how they play basketball. They can shoot better in the second half a little bit. We saw against Morrisville, they made 5 threes in the second half compared to the 1 they made in the first half, like I mentioned earlier. So again, this is a team that, as the game goes on, they can get a little bit better. We'll see if they can do that going into the second half. But first, you got to take care of business. You got to close out this first half. They've shown that they can do that here in the last minute or so. But again, 1:13 to go. If you can keep this a 5-point game or extend the, rather limit the deficit, you'll be just fine. You'll be happy if you're Coach D'Antonio.
And one of the keys definitely going into the second half as well is just breaking the full court press that's been applied by the Cougars. It's worked pretty well so far.
Yeah, it's worked really well. That's how they play their defense. They come up and man you, and they try and get a steal right away at the midline. They've done that a couple of times, but ESF has also responded the other way on their defensive end. And most notably, they've stopped Thompson for the majority of this game.
Aguado pressured all over. The bench getting into it. Finds an open man, Emery. Thinks about a 3. Ball almost lost. Shot clock under 10 under the basket. Heffernan, his first shot of the day, up and in. Heffernan silences the B&S bench. It's a 1-possession game in the final minute of the opening half.
ESF coming out with a new lineup, and it's been working really well in these last couple of minutes.
Joyner thought about the 3. Shot clock at 5. Shot by Baskersville out. Rebound ESF. Mighty Oaks moved the other way. The shot clock turned off. Rossi, though, driving with pace. Inside the basket, lost it. And B&S gets it back the other way off the turnover. Inside, Hughes puts it up and lays it home.
Ryan, that's the last thing you want happening. It's your possession to end the first half, and you allow a turnover and make it a 5-point game again. Unacceptable.
Another chance from ESF here. Aguado puts it up, rolls out, but a foul called with just 0.6 seconds to go. And the Mighty Oaks have a chance to make it a 1-possession game. You said it, though, Nico. They could have let the clock run out on the last possession, and Rossi maybe just was unaware that it was turned off.
Well, they're down 9 2 minutes ago, right? I said the benchmark, you got to try and get it to a 5-point deficit at halftime. Then you go down by 3 it's your ball to hold till the rest of the half, but you decide to drive it, and unfortunately you turn it over. So that's just something that ESF cannot have happen. Those small mistakes, as that was a big one there. But the free throws still cut it down to a 3-point deficit at halftime nonetheless. ESF, give them credit, closed out the first half.
They started the first half well, the middle of the opening half a bit shaky, but they've also closed it out well. Well, it's halftime in Syracuse. We'll step aside for a few minutes and return with stats and our recap of the first half. You are watching college basketball on ESFTV.
Welcome back to Onondaga Community College at the half. It's a 36-33 lead for Bryant Stratton. The second time these two have faced off this season. Nico Horning and Ryan Randoni here with you inside SRC Arena. Ryan, a first half that we kind of expected for both of these teams. It was a close game last time out, but it's also a close game now, and ESF closed out the first half, which they weren't able to do against Morrisville.
Yeah, they started it out well, and they also closed it out well. Really great response, and a big reason why was a pair of fast breaks that got the momentum going. Also ended strong with a pair of free throws, and now they only find themselves down by one possession.
And if you're Bryant and Stratton, Trace Thompson has been the guy, the center, that the Mighty Oaks have had to stop so far today. They've done a nice job defensively under the glass, have really limited him. That's what allows them to be so far in this ballgame.
Yeah, he struggled early on as we look at our stats here. BNS up 36-33, 5 fouls on each side. We talked a bit about the rebounds game early. Both teams made that a priority, and ESF has won it so far, up 15-12, also on field goals made. They lead 13-15 compared to 14-22 for BNS, but overall, it's been a pretty tightly contested game statistically.
We will step aside for a short break and return with a special guest on the other side. You're watching college basketball on ESFTV. It's halftime in Syracuse. A 3-point deficit for ESF to Bryant Stratton. Two teams familiar with each other. They've already played one time this season, but we are here at the half. Another close game and a big run there from ESF to end it. Nico Horning with the athletic director of Bryant Stratton, Nick Dimitriowski, as well as our other guy over here on the broadcast, of course, Ryan Randoni, doing the play-by-play in the first half. But first of all, Nick, thank you for joining us here. Your basketball team's had a month off, but what have you seen so far in the first half of them?
Yeah, thank you for having me. No, they're getting back into it. They got a really strong team. They were ranked number 1 in the country for a little bit, So our head coach just had a baby boy, so Xavier's taking over the reins today. So we're excited to see, exactly what's going to happen, but we're just getting back into it.
Well, congratulations on that. That's amazing. So speaking of your program, we know soccer has been a very relevant program for a while. 4 championships, 7 straight appearances except for this past year. But what does that do for the community, and what does it show from your entire program at Bryant Stratton?
Yeah, no, we've had an incredible run. We've won those national championships. We've been in 7 straight this year. We've had a couple of injuries that we lost the first round and ended up 3rd. We've had a good run. We've had a great program. The soccer team is second to none. We've had some big players like Shalry Joseph come through the ranks, who was an 8-time Major League Soccer All-Star, one of the highest paid players in Major League Soccer. So we're excited about it. I think it really helps us in the community, with all that. We have several 4-year programs, so we added basketball, baseball, we have esports, so we're expanding our athletic program.
And you mentioned baseball just being very new and all these new programs, but also esports is something that's really relevant now going across the nation. I know a couple of us are at Syracuse University, and that's now a new major for them as well. So what is the esports side of things going to do for your school?
Yeah, no, we think it's going to be a game changer. You know, we got an incredible facility there for it. You know, Connor Carroll is our new head coach, so we're really looking to tap into that market. It's an exciting event. You know, I know at the highest levels they have incredible attendance and they compete for multi-million-dollar prizes and all that. You know, but we're excited.
It really is insane. I mean, I've watched some game streams, and a lot of people are into it. You know, it can be a big moneymaker as well, and it's its own world where you have these guys going to different events around the world, and now to see that as an actual major or part of education is going to be really interesting to see going forward.
And we've always had a great relationship with ESF, so this is fantastic for both programs to continue to compete, whether it's on the soccer field or on the basketball court. So.
Well, I'm going to put your basketball brain on for this last question. What do you want to see from your team going forward here in the second half?
You know, they were up for a little bit. I think they took their foot off the pedal a little bit, you know. But they're just coming back.
Exactly,
You know, so they got to get their legs underneath them, get the chemistry. But, you know, we're pretty confident in their ability. We just wanted them to make small little gains as the season progresses.
Definitely. Well, good luck the rest of the way. We appreciate you jumping on. This is Nick Dimitrioski here, the athletic director of Bryant Stratton. We'll be back with more ESF and Bryant Stratton basketball after the break. It's a 36-33 lead for Bryant Stratton. We'll have more college basketball on the other side of this break on ESFTV. Welcome back to SRC Arena. Bryant Stratton leads SUNY ESF 36-33 here on this Thursday night. ESF trying to get back to their winning ways after a 110-78 loss to Mooresville on Tuesday. Nico Horning, Ryan Randoni, happy to have you with us here back at Onondaga Community College. Two teams that are very equal. They've already played each other a time earlier this season, Ryan, and we've seen a pretty equal game so far, but most notably ESF closing out the first half.
Yes, they did do a good job of closing out the first half. They started hot, had a little bit, as we mentioned, a cold stretch towards the middle, but have really ended things on a positive note in the opening frame, and they only find themselves, despite how aggressive BNS was, down by one possession, so they are very well in this game.
It's a team that the bench guys have really produced for the Mighty Oaks. We've seen Andrew Cox, we've seen obviously Christian Rossi's a starter, but the guys that Coach D'Antonio needs to be more aggressive have been more aggressive so far, so we'll see how they continue in this second half. ESF has been known to shoot the ball better as well, but Bryant Stratton, a really good shooting team at 84 points a game, as that three's off by Moses Hughes to start possession. The offensive rebound taken there in the far corner. Thompson, using his size, goes off the glass, and that's how this half gets started.
Well, BNS had a slew of offensive rebounds in the opening half, and right there again, they get the offensive rebound and capitalize.
Ryan, if you're Bryant Stratton, you have a big center in Tyrese Thompson. How do you get him going a little bit more in the second half?
Well, I think he just has to keep shooting. He's had adversity in this game, obviously. Missed a few shots. He just needs to keep taking nabs. He's the biggest guy on the floor. He's eventually going to get it to go under the basket.
ESF doesn't have one forward on this team, so they have to do everything a little bit more collectively as a group. Offensive rebound taken from ESF. Nate McCarthy gets it out to the corner. A three ball too strong by Andrew Cox and taken by the Cougars. Covered up, Moses Hughes has it for Bryant and Stratton. He had a really productive first half as well, getting down the lane. As that three rattles in from the near side. Tyron Banks hits the first shot from downtown, and Bryant and Stratton's come out rolling here to start the second half. Christian Rossi's drive gets knocked out of bounds. And it'll be Mighty Oaks basketball still. 41-33. Bryant and Stratton scored the first 5 points in this second half. Fadeaway Jay rattles out from Emory. And the rebound taken by the Cougars as they run up the floor. They're pushing the pace. Here's a three from downtown. Swish. Tyron Banks, same spot, same result. And boy, it's been all Cougars to start this second half, Ryan.
Yeah, it has. Physicality's been on point, but now the shooting from downtown is on point, something we didn't see in the opening half. They've got themselves their biggest lead of the day.
The question is, how will the ESF offense respond? But that doesn't turn to be worthy as Banks gets it inside. Joyner cleans it up, and it's been all Cougars. A 10-0 run to start this second half. Bryant and Stratton all over ESF as Coach D'Antonio takes a timeout. Not the way you want to start the half if you're ESF.
Yeah, and Coach has been looking the most grim right now that he has been pretty much all night. He's very frustrated with his team. Whatever adjustments were made at halftime, they haven't worked so far. BNS has been arguably even more physical right out of the gate in the second half, and again, steals plaguing the Mighty Oaks.
Bryant Stratton's been really pressing the defense since the first half, and they've continued that here in the second, but their offense has looked a little bit smoother so far as well. Two big three balls from Tyron Banks, who averages 29% from downtown. Went 3 of 3 from beyond the arc last game, so he's been on a roll from beyond the arc. Question is, how does ESF get back into this game?
Certainly has to start with being the more physical team. Nico inside. Is there another steal?
Here goes Hughes down the floor, and he jams the rim. Bryant and Stratton all over ESF. That is defense creating offense for the Cougars. And they're going to give Moses Hughes a technical foul after that for hanging on the rim a little bit too strong. But you can't blame the guy after that, having some fun.
Yeah, and his team is really excited right now. They are hyped up. starting off the second half on the right foot.
As they should be. I mean, they haven't allowed a point until right there as Antonio Franco knocks down the technical free throw.
You do wonder, we mentioned earlier how BNS is only 13th in their conference for steals per game. You wonder how much of an emphasis was on takeaways over the last month in which they didn't play a game.
Definitely, that's a great point because you've had a month off and your head coach is out. He's having a baby. We just talked to Nick Dimitriowski, the athletic director for Bryant and Stratton at halftime, and he mentioned the adversity that the Cougars are going through right now with an interim head coach, as Bangs can't get another one to go. That was a heat check right there from the 5'8" freshman. ESF looking to move the ball around a little bit more, try and cut into this 14-point deficit. It was a 3-point game at halftime just a few minutes ago. Yeah, Ryan, we saw a lot of standing around in the first half. How do they get going and try and drive the lane here?
I think, again, it's just about trying more often. The problem is BNS is the bigger team overall. They've got a lot of guys who are just more physically posing. So they really just got to try and try again. But it is a tough task considering overall how big of a team the Cougars are.
Patrick Emery draws the foul down low at the left block, and he's going to the free throw line for a couple of shots. Emery sits at 84% from the charity stripe. From Fayetteville Manlius High School. Shout out the Hornets here locally in town. I did a couple of PA announcing gigs for them last year for their men's basketball team.
There you go. You got the voice for PA.
Oh, thanks, man. It is really fun. It's definitely different from play-by-play. You got to bring the energy in a gym. Emery knocks down 1 of 2 right there from the free throw line. It's a 13-point game. Bryant and Stratton on top. Banks thought about a 3 from the far corner there. He's already knocked down 2 to start this second half. Bryant and Stratton in no hurry. Hughes working down low, goes off the glass and muscles his way for a deuce. Ryan, it seems like Bryant and Stratton just using all their physicality here in the second half so far.
Yeah, and Hughes already has a few baskets in this one, really making an impact in the second half.
Christian Rossi's layup falls after a couple of bounces off the rim. And it's back to a 13-point game. Once again, it was a 36-33 Bryant Stratton lead at halftime. But the Cougars have done a nice job of opening up so far. A couple of threes from Tayron Banks, but a lot of it done inside. Here's what ESF needed, a defensive takeaway. Franco down the lane, a bounce pass inside, and a flip up by McCarthy. ESF down by 11, trying to go on a run, inching their way back.
And that's how ESF is going to need to come back in this ball game, is with the steals of their own, give BNS a taste of their own medicine, because getting down low has not been an easy task, and that's how you have those easy layups.
Hughes from downtown, front rim goes out, and ESF with the takeaway. McCarthy dribble drive, finds Rossi inside. He gets doubled right at the under the hoop there, and McCarthy flips it up for ESF. Mighty Oaks going on a bit of a run of their own. We've seen ESF get inside a bit on the last couple of possessions. See what Bryant and Stratton can get going right here as Thompson turns it over right at the baseline. ESF basketball.
Certainly starting to feel more and more like this has been a game of runs. Both sides.
It definitely has. It really has, Ryan. That's a great point, because even though both teams have gone on a run, ESF, from their point of view, they've done a really nice job of stopping Tyrese Thompson from under the basket. They just did right there again, and that was a big X factor coming into today, stopping him from rebounding the basketball. But ESF hasn't really given him that opportunity. You know, Coach D'Antonio in the gray sweater at the top of your screen right by the ESF bench, he talked about how ESF doesn't schedule fluff. I mean, this is a Bryant Stratton team. They're technically a D1 team, whereas ESF is a D2 team. And Coach D'Antonio wants his guys to compete. He wants the best competition possible. And ESF is showing how they can respond and stay in these ball games.
Yeah, they've played him twice this season, not once, twice this season. So he's not afraid, even with the good teams in the HVIAC, to schedule good out-of-conference contests as well. I mean, it's not an easy slate coming off playing a game against arguably SUNY Morrisville's best team ever, and then having to play out-of-conference again against BNS.
A lot of competition here in the Syracuse area, especially in the wintertime with basketball. Emery's layup is too high off the glass. Here comes Bryant and Stratton the other way. Oh, he thought about pulling up. It's a 7-point lead for Bryant and Stratton. 3-ball too strong, and rebounded by Andrew Cox. ESF on a run so far. Emery backs his way, works inside the paint, and yep, the bunny hops came to fruition as Emery travels there. Right, ESF right in this ball game, just a 7-point game. You'd like to think Bryant and Stratton could be their turn for a run.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, with the team being so physical, even with that turnover, they can really flip momentum on their side at any point.
And the man that had the turnover right there, Shamari Baskerville, was very efficient in the first half, had 10 points. ESF done a nice job of stopping him so far in the second half, caused the turnover right there.
Problem for ESF is other players have stepped up.
Like that one right there from Antonio Franco. It's a 5-point ball game. Moses Hughes attempts from downtown, back rim, rebounded by ESF. The Mighty Oaks were down by as many as 13. They've cut it to a 5-point lead. Emery on the near corner, drives the baseline, flips it up, too short, and taken by Bryant and Stratton. Moses Hughes goes all the way, defended by a couple of ESF defenders. And he draws the foul. He's going to the line for 2.
And Hughes has been really doing a good job in this second half. Already has a pair of baskets, been getting involved, and this guy's the leading scorer for this team. He's finally showing why here in the second frame.
And your leading scorers, your big-time players, they step up in crucial moments. And now it's the second half where Moses Hughes can do his thing and really propel his team going forward. The Cougars really rely on him to do his work night in, night out. So he knocks down the first free throw. Two of 2 from the line for Moses Hughes. It's back to a 7-point ball game. Approaching the midway mark through this second half. ESF 1-1 in the last 2 games. Looking to get back on the winning streak today. That one's knocked away by Cameron Wheeler. The Cougars in transition. ESF did a nice job of getting back on defense. That's a foul right there by the right side of the lane. And substitution comes in for ESF. Owen Salerno comes into the ball game. Andrew Cox takes a breather on the sideline.
And ESF has really been operating with a small lineup. It's mostly been the same 5 guys. Salerno's had little playing time as the 6th guy on the court.
Hughes cracks the rim. And boy, it's been all Moses Hughes in this second half. A little flurry from ESF, but it's back up to a 9-point lead for Bryant and Stratton.
Talk about a beautiful windmill. That had the bench rolling right there.
It definitely did. And Ryan, you look at this Moses Hughes. He's got his red shoes on. So not only does he have the most points on his team, but he stands out on the court. You always know where he is.
He's the stylish one. Rossi's also got the purple shoes. He's the stylish one on ESF.
You're looking pretty stylish yourself.
Oh, thank you, Nico.
Got the brown shoes, a suit and tie. What more could you want on a Thursday night? 9-point game. ESF looking to climb back into this one with 11 minutes to go in the second half. A step back three doesn't go for Franco. Corralled by Baskerville, and Bryant and Stratton with the chance to make it a double-digit game once again. Hughes all the way, comes up short. Rebound fought for, and it's ESF basketball.
Hughes not happy with the call, but still a great effort by him. Put it up, and it was already ready for the rebound, fighting for it, ready to go again. That shows really kind of a team player overall, somebody who's not just going for points, but who's also going to fight for those boards.
Ryan, we have a 9-point game here. ESF trying to climb their way back in. Who's that one guy that you want to see, leading the charge here?
Well, the leading scorer is getting hot for B&S, so I would have to say the leading scorer for ESF, who just poked that ball out of bounds, and Emery. He has to, I think, step up and really take the leadership role in the second half.
Emery had a season high of 26 points when ESF played Paul Smith's college. Baskerville three-pointer doesn't fall. It hung on for a while. Thompson there to clean up the trash, and that's what Bryant and Stratton has been wanting him to do all game. That's what he's been known to do, and he finally gets going here midway through the second half.
Yeah, and like I said, just keep working at it. If you're Thompson, you're the biggest guy on the floor. No reason to keep shooting, and eventually it falls there.
Nate McCarthy draws the foul into the basket, and ESF going back to the free throw line for a couple of shots. This might be a scenario, Ryan, where we get a few minutes down closer to the end of this ball game, where it might be a scenario where ESF may have to go to the free throw line.
Yeah, they may very well have to go to the free throw line. It becomes a game of fouls and violations and who's the better disciplined team as well. But ESF certainly also may have to foul themselves if they want to get back in this game and hope that B&S misses from some free throws.
McCarthy averaging 11 points a game this season. It's from Saranac Lake. .88% free throw shooter. And that's a payback from earlier. We had a broadcast jinx that went my direction, and obviously that one was not the one right there. Every time a broadcaster brings up a free throw percentage, you should expect them not to make it every time.
Well, I'll tell you, Nico, it's like extra points or field goals in the NFL.
Very
Same
true.
Exact thing.
I didn't mean anything by it. It's a 10-point game here in Allen Hall Gymnasium. Beautiful, facility here at Onondaga Community College. We've been very lucky to obviously be broadcasting this game, but also for these players. They get to play in a very nice event center here, multi-purpose. We walked into tonight, and there's a track and field event going on for high school, so I also announced a wrestling game here for high school sectionals earlier last year. So a lot of different things that can be played here at Onondaga Community College.
The track is beautiful.
Bryant and Stratton basketball there as the time was expiring. The shot clock was expiring for ESF. It turned into a game where Bryant Stratton's got to be in no hurry to try and get a shot up. And ESF's going to have to go down the other way and try and draw some fouls and go to the free throw line for some shots.
Yeah, and exactly what you don't want to do if you're ESF is what you did on the last possession. Waste the shot clock all the way down.
Great point there, a learning moment for sure. Joyner attempts, rattles out as the shot clock was expiring for Bryant Stratton that time. Here comes ESF running the floor. Emery gets it back out top. Good ball movement from ESF so far. 10 seconds to go on the shot clock. Rossi crosses up, step back, Jay too strong. ESF comes with it and attempts a shot. McCarthy in there. And man, Nate McCarthy's been really impressive today for ESF. He's drove the lane many times, and he's gotten to the free throw line as well. Obviously, I jinxed his last free throw, but this is the exact style of basketball you want to see from ESF as you're down by 10 with 8 minutes to go in the second half.
And he wasn't afraid to take a big hit and fall on that shot right there. Hit the deck pretty hard, but he's been going to the lane trying to give his team any chance they can have, down by 9 points right now.
ESF beat World of Life on Sunday. They lost to Morrisville on Tuesday. You were here on Sunday, Ryan.
I was here on Sunday. It was a game. They were trailing at half by 5, and they came out swinging a bit more than they did today in the second half. They immediately made an impact, and they were physical down low. They made their shots and really controlled the second half and won by a convincing margin as well.
And then the Tuesday game against Morrisville, just a really good team over there, about 45 minutes away. They're 14-2 this year. Of course, ESF gives up the most points in Morrisville program history, 110. And there's some good basketball feeling over there.
Yeah, it was a tough loss for ESF, but at the same time, Morrisville's a fantastic team.
They're a great
They've been
team.
playing so well right now.
And for ESF, I mean, that's, in my opinion, a positive thing. You want to go against teams better than you, try and improve as much as you can going forward as conference play nears.
Absolutely.
Double team help. Tefferin couldn't get inside. Here comes Bryant Stratton. Oh, what a reverse by Baskerville. He had that turnover a few minutes ago, Ryan, but he's kind of rebounded himself as of late.
Yeah, and BNS really has had no problem off mistakes, just responding right back. Whenever ESF has a run, they've been cool under pressure.
Rossi draws the foul inside, and he is staying aggressive. I know I harped on it in the first half, but Coach D'Antonio really wants Rossi to get going, be more aggressive, and he has shown he can do that tonight against a little more experienced and a little bit older Bryant and Stratton team. Rossi at the charity stripe for a couple of shots. He shoots 73% from the free throw line. It's been a pretty equal last few minutes. 10-point game. Bryant and Stratton leads 59-49. 7:20 to go in the second half. If you're just joining us, thank you for tuning in here on ESFTV. It was a 3-point game at halftime. Bryant and Stratton led 36-33, but they've opened it up early on in the second half. ESF got it down to about 5 points, and now it's a 9-point game. So very equal second half so far, except for that Bryant and Stratton run at the beginning, Ryan. But ESF, they could have let Bryant and Stratton get away, but they did not do so.
Yeah, and it's not like there's still 7 minutes left in this game, and it's a single-digit contest. So
yeah, plenty of time.
You're not in a dire situation if you're ESF.
Baskerville gets tied up there under the basket. It's ESF basketball. Plenty of time. But if you're ESF, you got to be happy for stopping that Bryant and Stratton run, because they came out with full force. A couple of steals and baskets. Both teams have kind of calmed down and found their collective game since. Franco from downtown, book it. This game is not over yet. 6-point contest as Franco, a 36% three-point shooter from Spain, leaves his ESF team in it. Bryant and Stratton in no hurry. 6 seconds to shoot. Baskerville steps into a three. He's got the triple. And that's a response right there. And now a steal for Baskerville as he loses it behind the back. And that was a huge break for ESF. That was possibility of another easy 2 points. Rossi trips up under the hoop, and he gets called for a foul. And it'll be 2 free throws for Christian Rossi on the other side.
Already 10 violations on this Cougars team. And you mentioned it earlier, but that could certainly hurt them down the road with the amount of shots ESF can get in these last few minutes at the line.
Rossi's first free throw is too strong. ESF 4-6 so far on the season. They obviously beat Word of Life on Sunday, 96-79. Lost to Morrisville on Tuesday, trying to get back into this one and steal the game for Bryant and Stratton here late. Rossi goes 1 of 2 from the free throw line. It's an 8-point game. Bryant and Stratton, on the other hand, 8-2 so far this season. And they got their first conference win against SUNY Sullivan JV back on December 11th. They haven't played more than a month. .5:20 to go, 5 to shoot. A little fadeaway from Joyner falls in. And if they're hitting shots like that, not much you can do from ESF.
Yeah, they just keep hitting shots from downtown, and that's one thing the Mighty Oaks can't have.
Emery tries to create, dishes it off at the free throw line. And look at the help. Jemery Baskerville. And a teammate helps, and that's Burnett, who flips it back to Baskerville. And Bryant and Stratton escapes. Oh, what a defensive possession there, but not to be accounted for the turnover right there. McCarthy gets the scoop and score. ESF not giving up on the play, back to an 8-point game.
And Moses Hughes looks like he's going to come back in, as well as Tayron Banks, 2 of the starters today.
Those are your 2 big guys. Tayron Banks hit 2 threes to start this second half. A big reason why Bryant and Stratton is up 8 here with 4 minutes to go in this second half. Here's a 3-ball from Baskerville. The offensive rebound taken. Wheeler. And now a far corner triple comes up short. ESF the other way. It's a 3-on-2. Bryant and Stratton got back on defense in that 3. Rebounds out of bounds. And now the 2 starters do come back into the ballgame. Moses Hughes and Tayron Banks. James and Burnett substitute out for the Cougars. Bryant and Stratton looking for their second conference win of the season with under 4 minutes to go in the second. Up by 8. Ryan, if you're BNS, how do you close out these last few minutes? You just brought your star players back in.
Yeah, well, it looks like Coach Norby is trying to go for the knockout punch right now. You just have the good shooters on the floor. They can make those plays. They're in a good spot.
And a foul from behind by Patrick Emery. Wheeler is going to go to the free throw line, I believe. Yes, he is, for a couple of shots. Wheeler's shot 60% from the free throw line this season. Once again, the Cougars haven't played in over a month. When they played their first conference game of the season, an 80-60 victory over SUNY Sullivan JV right back here inside Allen Hall Gymnasium. But Ryan, your first thoughts on this team so far tonight for having more than a month off?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think the biggest thing has been how they've handled steals. It has to be an adjustment because they've just had steal after steal after steal, and it continues to work, and ESF seems really fazed by it.
Emery drives down, draws the foul. So Patrick Emery trying to keep his ESF team in it. We go back to Bryant and Stratton. They have an interim head coach for this game, Xavier Norgabe, filling in for Clay Gagan-Sherman, who's having a baby boy right now. So congratulations to the Gagan-Sherman family. And Coach Norgabe trying to lead his Cougars team to their second conference victory. They're 3:20 away from doing so. But an 8-point game at the moment. This one's not over yet by any stretch. Emery knocks down both free throws right there. He's keeping his team in it. It's a 7-point ball game. Approaching the 3-minute mark here in the second half.
And if you're BNS, you got to give the ball to your best player here, Hughes, to finish things off.
Speaking of Hughes, bright pink shoes, thought about a step back three, dishes it off instead. Baskerville tries to create inside. Layup short, put back good. Moses Hughes. We've been saying his name all day, and he proved worthy again right there. Rossi goes downhill, and he scores. And a timeout taken by ESF. A 7-point ball game, 2:40 to go in the second. 67-60, Bryant and Stratton lead so far. ESF really hanging around here in the last few minutes. Ryan, what do they got to do these last 2:40 to try and get themselves a comeback victory?
It really just starts with, I think, turnovers, Nico, because now BNS, unlike the first half, is making all their shots. They continue to make shots from down low. They're making triple balls as well. And 1-3 could very well be the knockout punch with only 3 minutes to go in this game. So it just starts, you need some turnovers on your own end and steals, and you need to capitalize off those opportunities too.
Nico Horning, Ryan Randoni here from Allen Hall Gymnasium. Happy you're joining us here on ESFTV. It's a 7-point Bryant and Stratton lead over ESF. It's been an exciting one so far. It's a 3-point game at halftime if you're just tuning in, and it's been a very exciting second half. Bryant and Stratton began the second half on that run, and you look at the bench of Bryant and Stratton with Tyrese Thompson, number 34 there in the gray jersey with his back turned towards our camera. And ESF has really limited his play tonight so far. Our main key from both of us was the rebounding. How would ESF rebound the basketball? They got out-rebounded 51-23 against Morrisville. But boy, have they shown that they can, without any forwards, continue to be effective in that department.
Yeah, but other people have stepped up on the boards for BNS too, such as Hughes, who's been the leading scorer. So, yes, I do think Thompson to a point has been neutralized, but the Cougars have stepped up and other people as well.
Exactly. You have to expect other guys to step up from Bryant and Stratton. But if you're Coach D'Antonio, you're going into this game with the game plan of, you look at the center, you got to stop him because you don't have a legitimate center on your ESF team. And give ESF credit, they've done that today, stopping Tyrese Thompson, the 6'8 center from Jamaica. All right, 2:15 to go in the second half. A 7-point lead for Bryant and Stratton. They've got the basketball. In the gray jerseys, a pull-up three from Baskerville. Doesn't go as the shot clock expires. Here comes ESF the other way. Rossi behind the back in the open court. Finds a teammate. Here's the near corner three ball by Franco. Doesn't fall. Rebound loose. Controlled by ESF. Emery just inside the arc. Doesn't go. Boy, a great opportunity from ESF there. Couldn't capitalize with under 2 minutes to go.
Yeah, and a few BNS players were slow to get back on the court, so you had a fast break going, and you couldn't capitalize off it early.
Tough break there for the Mighty Oaks. How do they defend defensively? That's one way to do it right there. Antonio Franco getting his hands in it and causing a jump ball, and I believe actually it was a timeout from Bryant and Stratton. We're going to go to it's a 7-point ball game. Bryant and Stratton on top of ESF 67-60 here in the second half at Allen Hall Gymnasium. Thanks for joining us. Ryan, ESF had a chance to cut that deficit within 7. Couldn't do so right there, right in front of us here.
Yeah, they had chances. They had a couple of shot opportunities, just couldn't really convert. And they got the turnovers they needed too. But again, it just seems like one thing is going wrong for them at a time at every point in this ball game. They haven't been perfect. They've been certain things have worked at certain points, but there hasn't been a time where everything has been on point.
Patrick Emery, some of his shots haven't been able to fall, but he's been really effective for ESF as he has much of the season. Averages 20 points a game. Coach D'Antonio says that he can score at all levels. He can drive, he can post up, he can hit a three, and he's attempted a lot of those shots today. Some of them have fallen, some of them have not. And give some credit to the Bryant and Stratton defense. Minute and a half to go in the second half. BNS with a 7-point advantage. Joyner too strong, gets his own putback, and it's a 9-point game. ESF's got to hurry with just over a minute to go. It's a 3-possession game. BNS can just take their time if they want to, and there's the foul beyond the arc by Nate McCarthy. And it'll probably be a free throw contest the rest of the way with under a minute to go. It's a 9-point Bryant and Stratton lead over ESF.
Well, I think Coach D'Antonio might be maybe a bit early, but he may be a bit waving the white flag here. Both Emery and Cox off the floor for ESF, and in come Heffernan and Salerno.
So it seems as if ESF has called it off. And if the score remains true, ESF will drop to 4-7 on the season, as there's an example of a broadcast jinx right there. Emery comes back into the ball game, and so does Andrew Cox. So they just come out for the free throw. I was gonna say, it seemed a little strange for a minute. I mean, you're down by 9. There's still a minute to go. This game's not over.
It was a bit early.
They're just playing with us right there. Emery and Cox having a word or two with Coach D'Antonio.
I'll tell you, Coach D'Antonio doesn't have the attitude of a quitter, so I would have been surprised had he brought those people out.
Yeah,
Oh,
for sure. ESF down by 9. Got to score on this possession. Francro gets downhill, puts up a shot, doesn't fall. And it's Bryant and Stratton basketball with the foul going against Christian Rossi. And with 39 seconds, it's a 9-point ball game. You'd think this one is about sealed.
Certainly seems like that. A chance to make it a 4-point game, or a 4-possession game rather, if you're BNS. And again, ESF got lucky off the last foul with 2 missed shots, and they couldn't capitalize.
Free throw is in for Cameron Wheeler. It's a 10-point ball game. Bryant and Stratton on top. In all likelihood, goes to 9-2 on the season, 2-0 in conference play. And both these teams don't play again for about a week and a half. Next Sunday, they both head to Brooklyn and play at Berkeley College. So a little bit of a break once again for both of these squads as ESF fumbles the basketball, and Bryant and Stratton will control up by 11. The Cougars will win this game. They'll be 6-0 at home. Yes, this is a home game for Bryant and Stratton. They were undefeated coming into today, and it looks like they're going to be undefeated coming out of this game as well. Ryan, your big takeaways so far from this contest?
Well, I'm very impressed with, obviously, how physical BNS was. Also, just how well they've responded, given they were off for a month, and they don't look like it at all.
No, they don't. They really don't. Credit to Bryant and Stratton. Credit to interim head coach Xavier Norgabay, as the Bryant and Stratton Cougars go to 9-2 on the season and defeat the ESF Mighty Oaks 71-60 here on this Thursday night in January. Thanks so much for joining us here tonight on ESFTV. Nico Horning and Ryan Randoni. We hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. We got a big weekend coming up, Ryan. We had, of course, great basketball tonight, but if you're a Central New Yorker, you got a big Bills game on Sunday and a lot going on in the sports world right now.
I think I'm going to go to that game, Nico, but definitely a great weekend for Central New York sports.
Well, a big one tonight, a big win tonight from Bryant and Stratton. Tayron Bangs, a couple of big threes to open the second half, and the Cougars lead the rest of the way. Once again, ESF falls to 4-7. We want to thank the Athletic and Information Technology departments at Onondaga for their hospitality and assistance with today's game. On behalf of our outstanding production crew and my broadcast partner, Ryan Randoni, I'm Nico Horning. Thank you for joining us tonight. Once again, Bryant and Stratton 71, ESF 60, your final score here from Onondaga Community College. This has been College Basketball on ESFTV, a production of ESFTV in association with CNY Stream. So long from Syracuse.